Hello, and I'm Gabriel Páez, and welcome to Coming Out. Today we have Edison Farrow, a entertainment guru of Miami Beach, not just of Miami Beach entertainment all around. He's a musician, an entertainer, a good cook, I hear. And we'll talk about that because I follow you, and we'll talk about that on Christmas time. But welcome, Farrow, Edison. Welcome to the show.
So much. Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
It's a pleasure. So you're an entertainment guru on the beach. Catch us up how you got there. Give us a little bit background on you. And
I grew up in New York, and I went to school for acting, singing, dancing, and that's what I was in for 17 years. And came to Miami, and was intending to come here for a month to go on auditions, and I said, I could move here.
Okay, that
and I wound up staying 4 months during that trip, and then I went back and I realized I wanted to live here, and I just packed everything in my car and drove back down, and that was 30 years ago.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
and you've been here
since '95.
Okay, and you've been you've had different types of venues that you've opened.
I mean, I was
tell us about those.
When I was first here, I was still going on auditions and things, and then I started bartending at Twist, and I was a bartender there for 6 years. And then I started to get together for some friends. They said there's so many beautiful places. Why don't we go to these nice hotels? And I said, let's meet once a week at one of these nice hotels. And it was like the beginning of email. And I said, I'll email you once a week, and we'll meet somewhere. And it was supposed to be about 6 people, and it was on a Tuesday night, about 14 people came, and we pulled together some chairs, and I said, okay, once a week I'll email you. The next week I emailed them, 35 people came. The next week I emailed them, 45 people came. The next week I emailed them, 75 people came. And I thought, this is like a job, but it's becoming my full-time job. I'd have to meet with the venue first and plan everything. And then I became a nightlife promoter, and that became Martini Tuesdays, which I did every Tuesday night for 13 years. And
I remember those. I would attend those, not often enough, but when you did attend, they were nice because it was a different set of environment and the people.
Yeah. It was interesting because we were in all the chicest places, every place, every venue called me. We're in the Delano, the Shelbourne, the National. I mean, every venue that was there would call and ask, and it was great because we would have a gay night one-time event in every place around, and it was great for everyone to see the place. And then I got into other nights. I had a Friday night, a Thursday night. I did a drag brunch. I think, honestly, the first drag brunch I ever heard of was one I did, which
on the beach.
Was on the beach in around 2000. Before they were. Now there's a drag brunch in every little town across the country. There's 3 drag brunches, but and I brought in performers from Sandra Bernhard, Cheetah Rivera, Bruce Valanche, the Kinsey Six, John Waters. I mean, tons of people.
Cheetah Rivera, wow, that goes back, huh?
Yeah,
rest her soul. She just passed not too long ago. And what are you doing now? What is what are you promoting? What are you doing?
Right now, I'm just doing one event. I do event on the rooftop of the Lincoln Lane Eatery on Lincoln Lane, and it's called at a place called Twisted Tonic. I just called the rooftop, and we do it 1 or 2 Fridays a month there. And beautiful venue with a great view, reasonable drink prices. And then I sit on a board for nightlife for the city of Miami Beach, fighting for the rights of nightlife and bars. And
let's go into that a little bit. What are you finding there?
It's interesting because we meet with the mayor, the commissioners, code compliance, police. It's just incredible how it's incredibly sad for me to have seen Miami Beach grow to what it became, and then just to decline into what it's become. We stress Orlando is the #1 place in Florida for families because of the parks.
Right.
If you close the parks, it would be a ghost town. No one would go there. That is the reason it is the #1 place for families. There are 65,000 square miles of sunshine in Florida. South Beach was a square mile with the best nightlife, and that has been taken away. They actually passed a law in Miami Beach stating that if you don't sell 40% food, you can't have an entertainment license or liquor license, which means it's illegal to open a bar, a restaurant, a lounge, a piano bar, a jazz club, a wine tasting bar, because if you're not going to sell 40% food. So, I mean,
So
You know, we were once in the category of Ibiza, Mykonos, Central Pay, South Beach, and we had the chicest crowd coming in, and it just made it, the people don't come anymore. I mean, it would be impossible to turn on the TV at night, watch Entertainment Tonight and Inside Edition, all these entertainment
Deco
forms.
Drive.
Every night was Madonna's here in South Beach and Beyonce's here, and every night was all the major celebrities here. It was great publicity for us, and now I don't see that anymore because they're not coming.
How do we get there again? How do we go back?
We have to. The city needs to be revamped. I mean, we really need to. It's extremely difficult to open a business. People don't want to open businesses. That's why there's so many empty storefronts in South Beach, in Miami Beach. It's so difficult to get through the process. It should take 2 to 6 months. It can take 3, 4, 5 years. So people just don't open businesses here, and the whole system needs to be revamped to make it more welcoming. Cash incentives to open businesses.
Is that what you're doing at this board?
We are hopefully trying to open their eyes to realize that the reason people came here was because of huge factor was the nightlife. And we had great mom and pop stores. They can't afford to be here anymore. The rents are astronomical, yes, but at least if you're making a business plan on opening a business, at least you can have, a line item of what the rent's going to be. You're not going to have a line item of 4 extra years of rent. That's because no one's giving you your permits. And that's why people will come here with a business plan, with the sufficient funds to open it, and they go bankrupt before they get their permit signed to open.
And I heard that we were talking earlier, and you said that you have a new program that you're trying to push now, or a new venue.
No, I mean this is just with the board that I'm on. We're just trying to get them to realize that this is very important. This is why people came here. This is why we had people come from around the world to come here, and we were in the category of these old.
Well, it doesn't help that then they take away the entertainment and they close it at 2 a.m. Right? And
that's been for many years. For 20 years, there's been talk about that, but it hasn't. It's never happened, and apparently, it's not really on the table now. But I mean, there are almost no nightclubs to close, honestly, because there were so many venues to go to.
I was talking with a friend the other day that you would go to all these venues, and there were so many. Now there's practically none.
Yeah, there are almost none. Mostly closed. And it's interesting when people will move to a city that is so vibrant, and that's why they move here. And then they buy their condo here, and they want to close everything down. Well, why did you move to the vibrant city if you don't want to be around it?
What do you think? Where do you think is that the city needs the most help in?
I think it's just the difficulties businesses go through the building department, the fire department, the inspections, the code compliance. It makes it impossible to open a business, and people don't want to open here.
I always thought that maybe they should have like a liaison that gets assigned to an individual, and then that person helps them walk through all the departments. And then if the city had somebody that they could count on constantly, let's say you're trying to open a bar and you're going through all these other ones, if it's the same person that's always with you from the city, then they could negotiate or talk about things easier. And I don't see that. I
think if it's when I was opening my business, I was told I was on a board for the city, the LGBT advisory committee. I was on that board for 7 years. And we met with someone. He said, "Oh, I'm the new person liaison to help you open a new business." Great. And I met with him and talked with him. And then when I had all the problems, I never heard back from him. So it's just
okay.
And I think he just goes to there
goes my idea.
I think the problem is he's just the low man on the totem pole, and he's going to these people that have been there forever. They just deny everybody everything. And I think that would be the answer if it was feasible to get these things to happen.
I understand us being like that during COVID, during a pandemic, during, times of need. But, now when we're back to normal, it's like attract businesses, it's like we need the revenue. Our revenue is hurting, all across, so we have to become friendlier, not just to LGBTQ businesses in general, period. And
I mean, Miami Beach is a beautiful city, incredible architecture, gorgeous beaches, perfect walking city. It has all the elements to be and the incredible city that it should be and the city that it was. But really, these factors have really taken away from the whole living experience.
What would you like to see happening now? Like, where do you see a void in Miami Beach that we could tap into, entertainment wise?
Yeah, I mean, there's almost no entertainment. I would love to see live music venue. I think we need bars, clubs, restaurants, lounges. It used to be walking down Lincoln Road. It was 10 blocks of nonstop tables, people eating, spending money, and they would come, shop, go to dinner, go out afterwards. It was a full night, and it's just empty now. It's just so sad for me to walk down the street and see it so empty. So many for rent signs. And every business that opens brings more people. If you open a store, it's going to bring people to see that. You open a restaurant, you open a nightclub, and every business benefits from one another because people are coming for each. If every week there was a new opening. It seemed in the day every week we're going to no opening, and now we're posting about a closing every week.
Yes.
And I see so many things, unnecessary spending. I mean, they just spent $14 million on Maurice Gibb Park in Sunset Harbor, and to me, if I'm saying,
But have you seen that park?
Yes,
You could tell they spent $14 million, right?
I was expecting Park Güell for $14 million. Not.
Oh well, true.
Not
true.
a playground. I mean,
but it's a playground. $14 million on a playground, yeah, and it's nice, but it's a nice $14 million playground. But we could have used that for for sure.
You're building a softball field in Flamingo Park, not a stadium, not seating. I don't understand. It's a field, and it's $6.4 million. How does that cost that much money? I just don't understand how. I mean, and you take that,
Have you ever thought about making that leap into elected office?
No.
You're not one of them.
I wouldn't want 90,000 people complaining to me.
Right? And it's a full-time job. I mean, they say they pay you a part-time salary, but it's a full-time job.
I admire the elected officials we have. They're just always busy at an event, at a ribbon cutting, at a meeting, and meeting with all different buildings and associations, and it's just too much.
So what's next for you now? What are you focusing on? And is there something that you're tapping yourself in, getting yourself ready for?
I'm not really. Honestly, I'm looking. I mean, my next step will be my retirement. But
okay,
I've been doing this a long time. I've been promoting events for 25 years in Miami Beach. So
then do you do any musical entertainment like on your own? Like, because I've seen you on Facebook and you play the piano beautifully.
Oh, thank you.
So
just for fun. I mean, I owned the Cabaret South Beach, which was a piano bar, and everyone who worked there was a singer. And
there's such a need for that right now.
Yeah, it would be great. I would love to have more live music places, and we was Van Dyke on Lincoln Road, and they were
God, I remember that one.
Great places, but I just play the piano at home for
fun
every day. I play multiple times a day, and I'll have friends over for cocktails, and we sing around the piano, but I just play for myself.
So now that you're here, you're back here, you're very much into the seasons, right? So summer is here. Mm-hmm. Do you go away for the summer? Do you come? Do you stay here? Do you?
This year I pretty much have plans to be around. I need to book a trip soon.
Okay.
Last trip was Prague, which was amazing.
Wow, that's great, huh? I just came back from Galicia, and it was like a spiritual retreat. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to do the Camino de Santiago. I want to do it when I'm 60, mm-hmm. So it'll be May of 2027 that I'm looking at walking the Camino. And my cousin lives out there, and it was just so quiet and mm-hmm. peaceful out there. So I could just imagine myself when I go and do the Camino and mm-hmm. how much, I'll connect and stuff. But yeah, trips are always, a wonderful time away from and just to disconnect. Mm-hmm. It's a way to disconnect. I talk about Christmas because your other half is Venezuelan.
Yes.
And you cook all the right foods for the holidays, right? How did that begin? I mean, what motivated you to do pan de jamón? You know,
that's so
when it's so much easier to just go buy one. You know,
No.
and I see you rolling it and doing it. It's a great time. Do you do hallacas as well?
I don't. My sister-in-law does them.
Okay.
But every year I make 6 or 8 pan de jamón. And I just learned from watching abuelitos on YouTube making it. So,
Oh, okay. I thought you had a connection or maybe his relatives or something like that. And, because I'm from Venezuela. So, when I saw, pan de jamón is just, and hallacas, it's just such a uniqueness thing to Venezuela, especially during the holidays, that when I saw you doing it, I was like, oh my God, it's like, where's the connection here? So.
That's funny.
What else drives you other than than entertainment? Right now, what are you focusing on others?
I don't know. I mean, I play the piano, and my partner and I, we both love to cook, and he's an artist,
Okay.
Nestor Páez. He's an incredible artist, and our apartment, he's always painting, and I'm sitting there playing the piano. It's a very artsy environment.
So does that motivate him to get more creative in his art?
Possibly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you notice a difference when you don't play?
I don't know necessarily.
Try and see what play some Venezuelan music. Do you know any Venezuelan songs?
I don't know necessarily Venezuelan, but
okay, well, try it.
I have to learn.
See if you can get him to more inspired, and right now we're at a crossroad. Now let's talk a little bit more serious. The LGBT community is being erased. We're being taken. Our history, our books, everything of ours wants to be erased. Our brothers and sisters, trans lesbian brothers and trans and the lesbians and the gays, we're all being impacted, but mainly the trans. Yeah. Talk to us a little bit about that. Tell us what you see, what you feel, how's it going. Yeah,
it's just you take 10 steps forward and we go 10 steps backwards. It's just unbelievable that to this day we're still fighting for the same things, and women are still fighting for the same issues again. And now the trans community, some groups always chosen to be attacked, and for decades it was, if you do this, someone's going to get an abortion, or if you're going to do this, gays are going to get married. And now it's trans people are going to play sports. Meanwhile, that's 0.001%.
Right.
And it's just a scare tactic. It's just a distraction. But it's just such a backwards way of thinking when, in general, really the population does not, isn't against gay marriage. And if you take all the surveys and the voting, but it's always a scare factor. And now they're trying just this last week, there was a whole revival to try and take away gay marriage again, and just unbelievable.
And they're really working it the same way they did it with Roe versus Wade. So they're using the same tactics, they're using the same verbiage. Do you see Roe versus, same-sex marriage being reversed?
These days, you just don't know what is going to happen. I mean, the Supreme Court used to be one of the most respected group of people, and now it's just a joke. Now it's just unbelievable. I have no idea. You just never know what's going to happen.
It's really, to me, it's really sad, that when I go, for example, again, I was just in Galicia, and people were asking me, so what's going on over there? And why is this going on? And what's this going on? And I felt like I was a defense attorney, because I had to defend everything that was happening and put a good spin on it, so we could have, a good light and leave good message behind. And it's just so tough when you're out there trying to root for somebody who's really against you. And I don't, what interests me more now in immigration is how everybody here in Miami is pro-immigration until they get here. And once they get here, albeit it's like now everybody else needs to go the legal route,
It's unbelievable. We're all immigrants. Everyone, if you're not an American Indian, you're an immigrant.
Exactly.
And everyone,
I mean, just the other day, the chancellor from Germany was giving the president a birth certificate of his grandfather being born in Germany. You know, so that goes to show you that he's also an immigrant. We're all. But you know, this what concerns me the most, Edison, lately, and what keeps me up at night is that I feel that we're not leaving this world a better place than we got it, than what we got.
Absolutely.
And that is really, to me, is concerning, because I feel like I was always here to make something better and better and better. And I feel that I'm handing it over to the next generation all messed up and totally opposite of what I found it, you know. Look at the women right now, Roe versus Wade, you know, definitely, you know, it's not a better place, you know.
Absolutely.
So that is what concerns me. That's what keeps me up at night. And as an activist that I am, it's concerning because it gets worse by the day.
Absolutely.
And I don't know how to, I know I don't have control of everything, but there's days that I really want to make it work and I just don't know how to. And so I have to sit back and watch. What do you see? What keeps you up, you know?
Yeah, it's you know, the United States used to always be thought of as the leaders, the forward thinkers, the, you know, progressive place. And now we've fallen so behind all the other countries. And, I think they really don't look down on us. It's like the laughingstock. It's just unbelievable. They just cannot believe how the bad position we've become in, behind on everything, behind on all the thinking, and even because of the discrimination towards immigrants now, I think a lot of other countries are changing their laws not to accept Americans that want to leave now too.
Well, and in itself, now we're on the do not travel to list. You know, all these countries are putting us on the list not to travel. It's not safe. I get calls not on a daily basis, but on a weekly basis saying, hey, is Miami still safe to go down there as an LGBTQ couple? And, you know, I have to like put a positive spin on it. Of course it is. You know, we got people like yourself out here but it's just concerning, really. It just worries me to the core, because I just don't see it the same way, you know, 5-10 years ago where we're at now.
Absolutely. Know? We seemed way more progressive and safer, and just it seemed more optimistic.
And I put myself in the shoes of a trans person, for example. Not only do they have to fight coming out of the closet, now they have to, like, you know, they have to get this new identity, and they struggle with that, and they go through all this. And now they have to deal with everybody like hating them. And they're probably the smallest percentage that we can be fighting for. And really, I just feel bad for trans individuals nowadays because of the harassment that there is, and I understand people don't want them in sports, but it's a minute percentage. So, like we were talking, and it's just hard, and it's just very uncomfortable, and sometimes I find myself anxious about not knowing what I'm anxious about, and I realize that it's the situation that we're living in. So that's my reality now, you know, being anxious for others, being anxious for the situation's not getting better. I just hope that, you know, we could get back to the days that when you got here to Miami in 95, where it was peace and love all over Miami Beach. And, you know, you'd come out here and, like you'd say, you'd come for a couple of days and you'd stay months. You know,
it was magical time here.
Yeah, it was. And, you know, what was that that restaurant on Lincoln Road early on? Was it Jonathan's? I can't remember. It was where near the ice cream store that closed, that opened, and Mova was around.
Okay. Oh, there was Jeffries. Jeffries was on this. That's where Mova opened.
Yes, yes.
Jeffries.
So
And
Jeffrey,
he owned Magnums. Later.
yes. So that's where we got to go back to. I feel to those days of bygone era. And what it's only been 25, 30 years max, but really we just. We're at a crossroad where do we go forward or do we continue going backwards? And I just find that, we need more people like you out here, pushing that envelope to the next level or the next step. And,
Yeah, and it's always interesting. I remember in about 92, 3, 4, 5, people were saying, South Beach, everyone's, especially in the gay community, everyone's moving to South Beach. It was the place, and it was extremely inexpensive to live here and cool and bohemian. And then I remember around 2000, everyone was saying, Asheville, everyone's moving to Asheville. You can buy a house there for $50,000 or $60,000. And now that $50,000 or $60,000 house in Asheville costs $600,000.
Oh, wow.
And it's just it's interesting. I always ask what is next because there will be a next. And it can be, the way Wilton Manor just exploded. There are probably 80 gay-owned businesses there, and it's booming place. And it's really, so much comes up to business owners. If, 3, 4, 5 gay business owners decide, let's pick this town and start opening there.
Do you think that boom can ever come back to Miami Beach? Are you optimistic?
I think it could. I think possibly it's priced out for that to be able to happen. And it usually seems to happen in a real depressed neighborhood. And that's where, South Beach, when I moved here, my first one bedroom was $400 a month. And, now that would be $2,800 a month. And I think each one of these places that really booms and starts like that is in a place which is extremely like a forgotten neighborhood. And
so like Wynwood?
Yeah.
Because Wynwood now I went recently on a Wednesday and it was just hopping. I mean, everybody was out and about and, the stores were open late.
Oh, yeah.
And, and it felt like that era of Miami Beach era.
Absolutely.
But I don't feel as safe as I did in Miami Beach. There's been a lot of, hate crimes in, Wynwood. Some go unreported because we don't report,
Right.
We underreport our crimes and our mistrust for law enforcement. I get it, but I just don't, there's something about Wynwood that I just don't feel as comfortable as I did, on Miami Beach.
And it really quickly went from extremely inexpensive, where all these bohemian stores open, to extremely expensive, where I think it would be hard to open a mom and pop store there now. And, and then all the high rises were built in the middle of it because it's this cool bohemian neighborhood. And now they all want to call noise complaints and close all the businesses around that. It's the reason that they went there, which just this never makes sense to me. But.
That's and that the fact that it has support on the dais, sometimes it's surprising.
Yeah.
That I mean, I love Alex Fernandez. I think Alex Fernandez is great, but his opposition to entertainment district. I mean, yes, it brings some crime, and it does bring some when there were 20 nightclubs and bars in Miami Beach, and is when I felt the safest here because there were people everywhere. And you never felt that you were being targeted.
No, in any way. And you just feel safe when there are people around. A ghost town feels unsafe. A busy city feels, you just feel safe around people. I remember my 5 lady friends came down from New York to visit years ago, and there were so many clubs there, Mansion and Cameo, and I brought them club hopping. They could not believe how jumping it was in South Beach. Just sidewalks packed, all the clubs were packed. I mean, they wouldn't say the same thing now.
Oh.
It just empty, and it felt so safe being in such a successful, booming city with people everywhere, and now it's more you're watching your back because there's no one around you, and you're not sure someone's going to jump out of a doorway.
Well, the other day I went. We went to visit some friends that were at the gathering, and so I'm at the taco. So we walked down Lincoln Road. I didn't even pay attention going down. On the way back, I realized how empty it was. Yes, it was 12 o'clock, but in the past, 12 midnight would have
still be
hopping, and it would have been like jumping, and people would have been still eating, and some stores would have been open. And now it was like 11:45, almost midnight, and everything was closed. It looked like a ghost town. It felt like, I was walking down, like worry or concern of who was going to come out.
Absolutely.
Because it was basically just Ray and I that we were walking. So it's just sad to see that. And they say that they have a like a whole new what do you call that, CRA there, and they have the what is it, the Lincoln Road business district.
Yeah, I think unfortunately a lot of the Miami Beach government thinks close everything down and it's going to be safer. It's just completely wrong. It's the opposite. Get everything open, and that's when you. So
with this board that you're on, nightlife entertainment, is it the hope of bringing that entertainment back into the equation, and because those were the city coffers too, because taxes were being generated out of that.
Absolutely, I think they are feeling it now with so many businesses closed. I mean, they're just not making the tax revenue that they used to make. The hotel rooms are not being filled. There are people used to come here, shop, book hotel rooms, go to nightlife, spending money, and they're not seeing the revenue on any of these businesses anymore. And I think they really need to get that all back. And, I think it's...
Who's the chair of that?
It is... I'm like,
sorry to put you on the spot there, but
it goes me all the time. Oh my God, I'm blanking on his name. But he's the number one liquor license attorney in Miami Beach.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he knows what he's doing, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's great to have had you here, and our time is up already.
Okay.
Believe it or not. But thank you for coming. Thank you for giving us a little bit background on what you do and what you have done for this community, especially on Miami Beach. I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
Your doors are always open here if you want to come and sponsor something, or if you want to say anything regarding to one of your spots, please, by all means, let me know.
It's been great to be here.
But it's always a pleasure to have guests like yourselves here, and always who are doing something for community regardless of what's going on. And I feel that that's why I wanted to have you on, because you've been doing stuff regardless of this whole downturn that we're experiencing on the beach. So it's a pleasure to have had you.
Thank you so much.